Hey y'all, what's up? What's up? It's your girl here, MJ's Nia. Welcome to the channel. So yes, we are going to talk about a main incident that happened out here in Orlando, Florida, with the amusement parks, and I'm also going to give a little bit of information about other amusement parks as well. So let's go ahead and get into the topic. If you don't know, there was a teen who fatally fell from Orlando Drop Tower nearly 100 pounds. Overlimit autopsy report shows Tyree, I think his name is Tyree Sampson, 14, fell from Orlando free fall attraction. Now, before I get into the topic, more into the conversation, the reason why I'm talking about it is because I was talking to my friend, and basically she was stating that he knew that he was too big. He should have not got on the ride. I've heard of that from others. And what people don't understand is that the ride didn't have, didn't have no signs. From what I'm hearing, the ride didn't have no signs. And the operator, the operator, we call it the rider operator, however you call it, they were supposed to stop him from going on there because of his weight or whatever and height. So let me read this to you. So down here, it says, it also claims the manufacturer and the operator of the ride should have made sure there were visible warnings for riders about height and weight restrictions. The ride should not have been able to function if all riders were not properly secured. No one should have been able to manipulate or adjust proximity sensors. A monitoring system should have been installed to make sure all riders' restraints were properly secure. A mechanism should have been installed to stop the ride if a restraint was not properly secured. The lawsuit also points out there were safer alternative designs other than the design used in Orlando freefall that would have reduced the risk of the rider coming out of the seat. So how about we talk about what the manufacturer and the operator of the ride did? Why are we trying to sit here and blame the young teenager? Which is weird to me because I couldn't believe it. I told my friend, I was like, no. I said, where are you getting your facts from? I'm saying, I'm getting the facts from a news article. The actual reporter who went out, people who went out and investigate, they find out that it was the company's fault. It's the manufacturer and the operator of the ride fault. It's not the teenager fault. They were supposed to protect him and they failed. They didn't have no sign. There was no warnings. There was no restrictions. So what are you talking about? So I'm gonna play a video. I'm gonna play a video for you that goes into more deeper into. I'm sorry, but I'm listening to my dog. But it goes into more deeper in the conversation.
Coverage continues now with more on the company Freed says she hired to investigate the Orlando freefall ride. As News 6's Amanda Castro reports, the company is no stranger to Central Florida and actually investigated after a roller coaster accident in Daytona Beach a few years ago.
Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services Commissioner Nikki Freed says they're calling in outside help.
This is taking it a step further.
Hiring Quest Engineering and Failure Analysis to conduct an independent investigation into last week's Orlando freefall incident that resulted in the death of 14-year-old Tyree Sampson. The firm's website says they use the latest science and forensic technology to reconstruct accidents, and the state has hired them before.
They will help us look at the engineering of the ride and come up with any, as in the sandblaster incident that we had, they were able to do a root cause analysis for us and tell us exactly where the failure happened.
Quest Engineering investigated the sandblaster roller coaster derailment at the Daytona Beach Boardwalk back in June of 2018. 6 people were injured. It took a week for the firm to conduct its investigation and release its findings, determining speed was the primary cause of the derailment. Adding, investigators also found grooves in the track, some of them painted over, which they say is evidence the coaster derailed several times in the past. The state says those prior derailments were never reported. Regarding the Orlando freefall, Freed says the independent engineers will reconstruct the incident, which is something she says state engineers don't do.
The ones that we have hired, where our forensic experts go through and are able to go back and look at the calibrations, go back and look at the mechanisms and the movements, which is not what our engineers do. Our engineers are purely making sure that the equipment is put up to par and the standards that per the manual.
After concluding its investigation, the state shut down the Sandblaster roller coaster. As for the Orlando Free Fall, we reached out to Quest Engineering to learn more about their role in the investigation, and we're waiting to hear back. Reporting in the newsroom, Amanda Castro, Getting Results, News 6.
Okay, so there you have it. It basically lets you know that this manufacturer have had issues before with another roller coaster back in 2018. So this is not new for them. So I don't understand why, I didn't understand why I love my friend dearly, but I didn't understand why they were trying to protect the manufacturer or other people who were trying to protect the manufacturer. It wasn't a teenager fault. When we go on these rides, they have to warn us, they have to stop us. That's their job. Oh, sorry, you're too tall for the ride, you're overweight. You have to let people know. Who cares if they get upset? As long as they survive. That's the key. Who cares if they get upset? Throw them out if they get upset. But that, you have to protect, the people who are getting on the ride. So I want to bring that out. It was not the teenager fault. It was the manufacturer and the ride operator fault. And I also want to share, another video.
Questions this morning surrounding the death of a teen who fell from the drop ride at Orlando's Icon Park. An autopsy report now shows that 14-year-old was nearly 100 pounds over the weight limit for the attraction, weighing 383 pounds. Ezzy Castro joins us live from Icon Park this morning. And as the investigators have already said, the seat was modified for larger riders, something that likely played a role in his death.
Correct, Justin. So state investigators released all that information in a report shortly after the accident happened. And this autopsy report now confirms the teen was way over the weight limit for the ride. Almost 3 months after the death of 14-year-old Tyree Sampson, an autopsy report now shows the teen was nearly 100 pounds over the weight limit of the free fall ride here at Icon Park. According to the manual for the ride, the maximum weight is 286 pounds.
The autopsy confirms that he weighed 383 pounds. We know the manual for this ride states that the maximum weight was 286 pounds. So Tyree was 97 pounds over the maximum weight.
Investigators with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services found the operator for the ride manually changed the sensors on specific seats to allow larger riders.
There were regulations that were put into place. They should have been followed.
The report also shows Sampson's death was an accident and his cause of death was blunt force trauma.
Last week was Tyree's 8th grade graduation. And if the manufacturer, if the ride, if the park, if all of these would have followed the regulations, their own regulations, and followed these weight requirements, Tyree would have been able to walk at his graduation.
Sampson's parents filed a negligence lawsuit against multiple companies involving the ride, all as the state continues its investigation. Live at Icon Park, Ezzy Castro, Getting Results, News 6.
All right, so let me come back. Okay, see, now it tells us that the ride was manually changed to allow bigger people when it was not supposed to be. See, we're finding that they're lying some more about this ride. We're finding out some more stuff. Now, see, I didn't know that. I just learned that. I didn't know that the ride was manually changed. So before we start sitting here, and this is what I noticed with social media, we start to speculate. We start to make up assumptions. We start to assume and stuff. We start to make up all kind of, theories. But by the end of the day, like I state, it's the manufacturer fault, and it was also the person who allowed him to go on the ride. So let me play another video for you. I have one more video after this one. It's about the family files a lawsuit, and they should. Yes, they should.
The family of the teen who fell to his death off an Orlando ride files a new lawsuit calling the attraction, quote, unreasonably dangerous. Attorneys for the family of Tyree Sampson say the 14-year-old's death could have been prevented. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lisa Bell.
Glad you're with us tonight. I'm Matt Austin. It comes just a week after state investigators announced the teen's seat on that free fall ride was one of two that had been altered. News 6 investigator Maris Badcock has been following the investigation for more than a month now. She joins us live at Icon Park. So, Maris, the family laid out their case, right?
Well, that's absolutely right. That's all detailed in the lawsuit. Now, you can see they're not the only ones who care about this case. This is the memorial behind me for Tyree Sampson, the 14-year-old who fell off that drop tower ride, and now this family hopes to use this lawsuit as a catalyst for change and accountability in our amusement park industry. 4 groups of defendants accused of building a dangerous ride, one that 14-year-old Tyree Sampson slipped from during a free fall simulation, a death Tyree's mother, Nakia Dodd, continues to relive.
It's like it keeps coming in a series of waves. You get this unbelievable phone call that you lost your child. You have to go through the grief of saying goodbye. Then the state of Florida tells you this was not just an accident. These seats were manipulated.
Michael Haggard represents Tyree's mom, Nakia. While a lawsuit won't bring back her son, it might stop this from happening to anyone ever again.
She wants the federal authorities to take this over at some point and make sure we have the proper regulation across the United States, not just in the state of Florida, to really redefine and regulate the amusement park industry.
4 groups of defendants include Funtime Thrill Rides, the manufacturer of the drop tower, Slingshot Group, the owner-operator of the ride, Icon Park, the theme park where the ride is located and the leaseor of the land, and Keeter Construction, the company who built the ride. According to the 65-page lawsuit, defendants failed to do things like train employees about height and weight restrictions, properly test the ride, and failed to terminate employees who were not following proper safety procedures. Additionally, Slingshot Group defendants are accused of negligently adjusting sensors so that the ride would operate even if the harness on seat 1 was not properly secured.
The miscommunication between the manufacturer, who created the most dangerous ride they could without giving proper warnings, all the way to the night of the incident where they didn't weigh Tyree, where they didn't do anything to make sure that this was safe. And in the meantime, they manipulated the seats in violation of every standard you can think of in the amusement park industry.
I've reached out to every single defendant in this lawsuit. So far, I've only heard back from Slingshot Group through their attorneys, saying in part, Orlando Slingshot continues to fully cooperate with the state during its investigation, and we will continue to do so until it is officially concluded. We reiterate that all protocols, procedures, and safety measures provided by the manufacturer of the ride were followed. Now, the lawsuit claims that seatbelts on that ride would have only cost $22 per seat, but we know that the manufacturer of the ride advocated against seatbelts in a letter to state regulators. The family tells me they don't want to settle out of court because they can hold people accountable through depositions and court records. Reporting live tonight outside of Orlando Freefall, I'm Maris Badcock, Getting Results, News 6.
So I want to bring up the father of the teen who fatally fell for Orlando Freefall Thrill speaks. They want the ride down. They want it out. They want their ride. They want this ride gone. Can you blame them? They want this ride gone. They've been showing people on pretty much all through this week and all through the last month into this month, holding up picket signs about taking the ride down. Let's play the video.
Yarnell Sampson visited the place where his only son, his only child, Tyree Sampson, died. This is his first visit to Orlando Freefall, and he was immediately overwhelmed. Not just for the loss of his only son, but also because of the outpouring of support that is still here at the memorial for Tyree. Many of these posters and flyers from complete strangers, since the family lives in St. Louis.
In a dictionary, they don't have nothing to describe a father or parent or mother burying their child. There's no word to describe that. So what I'm feeling right now is sickening. It's days I can't get out the bed. make myself eat, make myself drink. Imagine you lose an honor roll student, 14-year-old child that was a straight A student, went to school, did everything you told him to do and had no problems doing it. What would you do in this situation, you lose your child? There's two ways I can go. I can go to depression and hide and let this just fall away, or I can stand up and do the right thing.
On Monday, Slingshot Group released a statement saying in part they followed all safety protocols and procedures. We told the attorneys that today at the press conference. They say they have people willing to be witnesses in their case, people who rode this drop tower ride and sat in the same seat as Tyree. According to attorney Ben Hilliard, one witness reported the faulty harness to a ride attendant, and the man even has photos of the bruises he incurred trying to hold on during the ride. Mr. Hilliard tells me that this witness is willing to testify in court. Part of the reason they wanted to go to court is to make sure all of these documents become part of the public record and aren't swept under the rug. Reporting outside of Orlando Freefall, I'm Iris Badcock, Getting Results, News 6.
You know, this reminds me of when I went on a ride back at Disney World in 2009, because, you know, I thought that even rides like at Universal Studios and Disney World, they don't have any issues. Because we all know about the fair. We all know about the fair. You know, they throw the rides up, they're not safe, and they take them back down and put them in a box or whatever. So we already know about the fairs. But I kid you not, sad to say, Disney have had incidents too as well. I mean, Disney has a timeline, deaths and accidents at Disney. There was one right here. It says April 11, 2006, a 49-year-old woman became ill after ride admissions space at Walt Disney World's Epcot. She was taken to a nearby hospital and died the next day. I've been on this ride and I've got sick.
In close dark spaces, simulators, or spinning should bypass this experience.
Okay, we just got off the orange side. That ride has me all kinds of messed up. Everything's still spinning. I'm surprised I didn't black out. I will probably throw up eventually. But it was fun, and it was magical. To help recover from the headache and nausea of the orange side of Mission Space, we're squeezing in one more.
Now, back in 2009, when I went to this ride, the guy was like, oh, there's two, because there's two of them. There's two rides. There's one that's like, it gives you the full experience, and then there's like a kiddie one. He didn't really explain it to us. So my friend was like, hey, because she was the one that, you know, said, hey, you know, let's go try this ride out. She was like, hey, let's go try this ride out. And I did. And I got sick really bad because I went on the one with the full experience. What he should have said was the full experience has really, you have motion sickness really, really bad. You got to have a strong stomach to get on here. He didn't explain any of that. But I got sick, just like this woman here did, but I survived because my friend, she bought me medicine. She was, you know, I don't know what happened between me and the other woman. Maybe it's because I was younger than her at the time frame, but she died. I didn't, but I did got sick after this ride. I also went to go look up if there was any more rides that have had incidents. Now, before I go, I will say this about Disney. They do tend to take full responsibility for anything that happens to you at their theme parks and their resorts. You know, they do have signs and stuff like that. Okay, so they're not the same as the Fun Time ride. Let me see. So it's not the same as that Orlando Freefall incident where they didn't have no rides and they didn't tell you anything. I do not know that for a fact. Disney does warn you. It's just sometimes maybe the person doesn't explain it very well, like I said earlier, but they do warn you before you get on the ride. Like Sherry here says, some of the rides and attractions mentioned in this article can be intense. As an out-of-state pass holder, I have ridden most of them numerous times over the years, and it's not for the faint of heart to ride some of them. There are signs of risk and medical disclosures clearly posted on Disney rides and attractions. A Caesar, I have no clue what this is. Myocardial infraction, I've never heard of that. And other medical factors of the guests may or may not be known by the individual. But that would not be the fault of Disney. Sometimes people have an unknown underlying medical problem and can manifest anytime and anywhere, such as that medical problem you just mentioned there, in seizure, stroke, or other episodes. A person's health history is legally protected under federal law under HIPAA. But like I state, they have had issues with their roller coasters in the past. They have had issues with their other things. But like I state, Disney is one of the few theme parks that will take full responsibility, even though if that person has a medical history, a medical condition, they still will take responsibility. I'm not saying that Disney is not, they good on everything, but they will do that part. But let me get back to the video and wrap everything up. If you go and look it up on Google, there's like plenty of, it says world's most horrifying amusement parks accidents. The deadliest roller coasters accidents in America. That was 2017. These are recent amusement park accidents in the United States. 2021. Holiday World Splash and Safari in Indiana. Was it Dawn? 47 years old of Brownsburg, Ohio, died from internal bleeding after sustaining an injury while riding the Voyage roller coaster at Holiday World and Splash and Safari in Santa Claus, India. Santa Claus, India. What the world? Merry Christmas. In June. On June the 13th, 2 people were taken to the hospital after sustaining injuries on the sawmill log flume ride at Six Flags. In Adventureland in Iowa. These are like all theme parks. Just go look them up. They're all theme parks. They have incidents after incidents. This is why I stopped getting on a lot of the roller coasters. That was 2021. Let's see about the one in 2022. World's most horrifying amusement park accidents. Orlando Freefall. That's the one about the young 14-year-old boy that we just talked about just now. The aftermath of Orlando Freefall was dubbed as the world's tallest freefall standing drop. And then we got Terminal Velocity in Lake Delton. Look at that. In the summer of 2010, a 12-year-old girl decided to take a leap of faith and hop on a ride called Terminal, I don't know how to pronounce that, amusement park in Wisconsin Dells. The family had traveled all the way from their home in Florida just for her to try it. The ride worked by dropping participants over 100 feet into a net without the use of any safety harness. Horrifyingly, the operator mistakenly released her with no net in the place. She fell directly onto the concrete, breaking her back, pelvis, and suffering brain damage along with numerous other severe injuries. Ridiculous. Look at that. She survived, but I think she was paralyzed afterwards. Ride of Steel, New York. I mean, I can go on. The list just goes on and on and on. Like, there's incidents after incidents after incidents after incidents, after incidents. Okay? And this was at Disneyland ride, sailing the ship of Columbia in Anaheim, California. I can keep going on with, there's so many incidents with rides, and I want people to be aware of this. This is not something new, because they're so quick to make a buck at these amusement parks or whatever little attraction. They don't really, I won't say the word they don't care. They just care about making the money. So you got to be careful when you go into these amusement parks. You got to know how long are they maintaining these rides? Are they keeping up with these rides? Are they fixing them? Because what we're finding out is they're not fixing these rides. They're not keeping up with them. They're painting over it, making it look like it's brand new. And when your child or your loved one or whatever gets on their ride, they could possibly die or get injured. So I believe with this father, yes, I believe they need to go ahead and take this ride down, because this company have had issues before with another ride. They need to go ahead and take their rides down. If your rides keep having incidents after incidents, you need to take it down and stop sitting here trying to blame the rider. Maybe it's not always the rider. So let me know what y'all think down below about these rides. Do you still go on rides, or do you do your research before you go to the theme park to see if they're keeping up with the rides? As for me, I just go, if I was to go to the theme park, I just want to go experience other things. I'm not trying to get on all these rides because of these incidents that I heard while I was growing up and going on rides. This is why I stopped. This is why my mom has stopped. She passed away back in 2018 for something else, but this is why she has stopped going on rides because of that. And I understand why. And I'm one of those people too. I don't get on roller coasters. After after the incident that happened to me in 2009, I was a little bit more careful, but eventually I realized I kept getting sick. So I was like, no, I'm gonna stop going on these rides. So let me know what you think down below. Give me your experience as to what we should do with the roller coasters, or drops, or any other rides at amusement parks. What else? What can we do to protect ourselves? What should we do? Let me know down below in the comments. All right. As for now, I shall see y'all later. Peace.
You get me so. You get me so. You get me so.